Did you make it back? I am so proud of myself. I said I was going to show up every day. This is day 19 of the 11K in 30 day. And I'm proud of myself because I've shown up now 19 days in a row. See, half of the battle is just committing and then following through. So that being said, what are we talking about today? Well, we're talking about what we're always talking about, and that's how we can secure our financial future. So if you are someone who is in their solo season, you're a woman who's single, divorced, or widowed, you're in the right place if you want to figure out how you can begin to generate income for yourself easily online in just 2 hours a day. So here's the thing. We can do absolutely everything. We can do everything right? We can show up, we can over deliver, we never complain, and still at the end of the day, we only earn 81 cents for every dollar that a man makes. And the fix was never going to come from inside of that building. So what can we do? Well, we can do everything right. We can show up early. We can stay late. We can over deliver, never complain, make ourselves completely indispensable to the whole operation, and still not be paid equal earnings, right? And you're talking about a median income of $57,520 against roughly $71,090. And that's the Census Bureau. That's not me. So not an opinion, not a talking point, not something made up to get you fired up. And I wouldn't do that. But here is the hard part. I really need you to sit with me on today. The fix was never, ever going to come from inside that building. It just wasn't going to happen that way. If we haven't met yet, I'm Z. This is Sit and Speak Your Truth. This is a channel for solo seasoned people, women, single, divorced, widowed, who are done waiting for permission to build a life that is theirs and that they deserve. So let's hop on down the bunny trail and let's speak some truth today. Now, that 81 cent gap means very different things to different women. And I want to be precise about this because the precision is the whole point. For a married woman, that gap is frustration. It's real. It's unfair. It should make her angry, but there is often a second income there in the house that's softening the landing. But for a single, divorced, or widowed woman, that same gap is not a frustration. It's the entire equation. It is the difference between covering the whole month and coming up short with a week or so left to go. There is no second paycheck. Quietly sitting back in the hidden tears of your life, absorbing that shortfall. Not at all. It lands in full on your shoulders every single day, and yours alone. No one else is going to bear that weight. So let me say the quiet part out loud, and this is the part that no one and nobody in some corporate diversity seminar is ever going to say to your face. You are not going to close that gap. You're not going to close it by asking nicely for a raise. You're not going to charm or negotiate your way out of structure that was built with that gap already baked inside of it. You could become the single best person in that entire building, the best employee, and still smack your head on that ceiling that somebody else installed long before you ever walked through the door. That is not a motivation problem you can grind your way past by working a little harder. It is a math problem that is wired into the walls of the system itself. And look, I know this one personally in my body because I lived inside a system exactly like that for years. I gave over a decade to a secure job. I enjoyed my job. I was good at my job. I had certifications. I did everything strictly by the book. I was good at what I did, and it was stable, and I was genuinely grateful for that stability. But there was a ceiling, and I could see it clearly, and no amount of showing up early or staying late was ever going to lift it, not even an inch. So the pay scale was the pay scale. Somebody sitting in an office I would never even visit had already decided in advance exactly what my work was worth. And one day it just hit me like a ton of bricks. I did absolutely, everything right. And I did not need a better position inside of that system. I needed income that I did not have to worry about answering to a system at all. And that realization is the reframe behind everything I now share. Legacy Builders, which is a system that I use, is a done-for-you digital income program with more than 60,000 members. And I share it because it pays based on what you build, not on some salary band that a stranger set for you years before you even arrived on the doorstep. The products and the system are already done for you. They're done. When you own it, you own the right to resell it and keep 100% profit. Okay? Whether that's around a $100 sale or a $1,400 sale. All of it. Not a percentage left over after everyone above you takes their cut first. Your ceiling is not printed on an HR chart in a binder somewhere. It is set by your consistency and by nothing and no one else. Here is the mindset shift I want for you. And I don't want you to think about this. I want you to take in all the way in. Okay, don't just sit here and nod at me and say, yeah, Z, I hear you. I want you to stop trying to win a game that was scored against you before you even sat down at the table. You can play harder, smarter, cleaner, and more honestly than every single person at the table, and the score does not move because the scoring was never actually about you or your effort. So you stop playing that particular game altogether. And you build a second stream of income that you fully control. And suddenly, the entire math of your life changes. I sure hope you get the raise this year because blah, blah, blah becomes, I don't actually need their raise. Do you understand what that single shift does to a woman's mindset? It hands her back her power. It completely changes how she walks into that building on Monday morning because she is no longer standing there quietly begging for a place at the table. She's not begging to finally be recognized for what she brings to the table and her worth. And that right there is the whole entire point of speaking your truth about money. It's naming the game out loud, plainly, so that you can finally stop letting it silently play you. The gap is real. I'm not asking you to pretend for 1 second that it isn't. What I'm asking you to do and what I'm saying is to stop waiting around for the very people who built that gap to be the ones who lovingly fix it for you because you're such a sweetheart. They are not coming. And instead, start building something they do not get a single vote in. Now, let me show you the part that really should make us all sit up, right, and take notice because that gap doesn't just cost you this year. It compounds. So every year you earn less, you save less, you invest less, and the difference snowballs across a whole career into hundreds of thousands of dollars you never got to keep. That is not a rounding error. That is a house. That is a retirement. That is the safety and rest you've earned and been quietly shorted on decade after decade. So when I say the fix won't come from inside the building, I mean it in the most literal financial terms. You cannot outwork a gap that's designed to compound against you. Now, someone always says, well, then I'll just go get a higher paying job. Look, chase the better job. Absolutely. If you want it, but understand what you're doing. You're moving into a higher rung on a ladder that still has a ceiling bolted over the top of it. A bigger salary is still a salary. It's a number that someone above you decides, still capped, still able to be cut in a bad quarter through no fault of yours. I'm not against the job. I'm against depending on the job solely as the only thing that matters. What changes the math for good isn't a better wage. It's a second stream that answers to you and no one else but you. And if your version of freedom also includes lower cost of living somewhere new, an actual place where your hard-earned dollar simply stretches further, I have created a free relocation checklist in the description box and my 120-day emergency exit free relocation guide, because that is yet another powerful way to beat this math. Not only earning outside their broken system, but choosing to live somewhere that your money will go twice as far the moment it hits your account, right? Very important. So if you are done, truly done, waiting on 81 cents to somehow become a whole dollar, then please comment my truth below and I'm going to send you the details. Let's go build you a number that nobody else on this earth gets to set but you. Okay? And until next time, I want you to always remember to keep speaking your truth. I will see you tomorrow for day 20. Okay? Much love. I love you all so much. Please be good to yourself. Please, let's remember as women to stop putting other people, places, and things before our own needs. You know, if you are a solo seasoned person, then you know that the only person that you have to depend on is you. And once we figure that out and we acknowledge that, then we can begin to take the steps necessary to ensure our own financial futures. Okay. So again, if you want to learn more how you can begin to build this powerful income system for yourself, whether it's right alongside a job that you currently have, or if you're retired and you're just looking to, build some additional income, comment my truth below and I'm going to send you the blueprint and all the details. Much love. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye.